Kuzambo, and welcome to Dawai Kudroen. My guest tonight is Honorable Deputy Chairperson of National Council, Mr. Tshering Dorji. So thank you so much for your time. I think as we also had a shortage of time during Zonka session, straight away into the question of the amendment of Election Act 2008. Why do you want to go for amendment? Now, there was a deliberation in the National Assembly today, and most of the members apprised that due to the past experience, or considering the past experience, they're going for amendment. And similarly, while witnessing the deliberation in National Council, honorable members came up with the same view, referring to the past experiences. Was the past experience so bad that you need to go for amendment? Nobody has been so specific, but your views on this?
I think it's always, on hindsight, we can always learn from the experience, whether it's good or bad. And even in the case of election, the past election, there were a lot of allegations of electoral frauds, corruption related to election. And even if you refer to this 2012 anti-corruption report, what they have highlighted is that globally corruption in the election and political party is considered to be a very serious and rising. And even in the case of Bhutan, we cannot take things for granted, even though our parliamentary democracy system is introduced in Bhutan for a few years. There has been cases and indication of prevalence of corruption related to election and political party. So therefore, taking note of all those things, being mindful of all those things, and also our committee, the basis of the talk that happened in the council is also based on the report that committee, Good Governance Committee, presented, and committee has also found out that based on the past experiences, they have seen certain inconsistency in the penalty that is prescribed in the rules, which is not in consonance with the Election Act.
Yes.
And also there are some difference in the interpretation of the Election Act. So based on all those things, and in order to promote deepen our democracy, in order to promote clean election, we thought first of all we should leave no excuses when it comes to election law. So therefore, yes, we must refine election law, laws related to election, and then so that there is no room for any misinterpretation of such laws, and so that we will in future be able to still hold clean election. All those allegations that has happened will not come. And this doesn't mean that the past election has been, in no way I'm alleging that past election has not been clean. But based on the report, there are a lot of things that we need to improve based on the experiences, with a lot of improvement and refinement we need to bring about in provisions of the law to bring about greater clarity, so that the implementing agencies can implement the laws successfully, and to bring about free and fair elections.
Yes, so now, while you go for amendment, was the implementation problem owing to confusion in the act and the rule that is there, or is it because of the ambiguity that is prevalent within the act itself that has not actually created room for better implementation of electoral laws? Because one of the problems that your Honorable Deputy Chairperson yourself pointed out during the session was that you have been a little disheartened simply because of the way things have been implemented during the past elections.
Well, generally my comment was on when the law has not been implemented with this implemented to the spirit of the law in which it has been formed, then usually that happens across all the board. You make law with good intention, but when you actually implement, there is always some excuses, there's misinterpretation, they interpret it slightly different way, so that the intent of the law is not served. So my comment was generally for that. So if that happens, no matter what kind of law we pass, if the implementing agency do not implement it to the spirit of the law, letter and spirit of the law, then we may not be able to achieve the result.
Yes.
And in the case of election, based on the committee report, it says that the rules and the penalty prescribed by the rule. Now, why do we have this penalty for what you call any activities that are not seen to be desirable, or that seem to be not in promoting free and fair election? If there are such kind of activities, then the rule must prescribe a good enough penalty so that
Yes.
so that they will deter from not doing such kind of things. So therefore, the report says that the penalties has been not been uniform across, and then moreover the rules on which the penalty has been framed is not in consonance with the act. So therefore, there's not much detail on it. So if that has happened, then maybe the implementing agency should be more careful. The main objective should be to prevent, to promote free and fair election, to prevent any such possible corruptions, room for corruptions in election, and to engage political party or party worker or representative of candidates in a free and fair manner. If there is any room that allows for any unfair means, then it must be curbed immediately. There must be preventive measures immediately. And if these things has not happened, then it's quite disheartening. So that was my general comment.
Yes, but will amendment guarantee better system? Will amendment guarantee better implementation?
That's exactly what I was saying. Amendment may not guarantee. It is ultimately boils down to the individual. It's a collective effort. We may make the best law in the world, but when it comes to implementation, if we fail, if it is not implemented with the true spirit and letter of the law, then it fails. So therefore, I was calling upon it. Not only all the stakeholders must be concerned about it. Citizens, the parliament, the lawmaker, the implementing agency. They should take extra effort, and they should always not forget the objective of why we are trying to have strict laws. That is to promote good democracy, to have clear, fair, clean election. So that objective should always be there. We should always be guided by this. So if you are always guided, if your conscience is clear, if you are always guided by that, then we need not have law, then everything will work well. But you may have the best of the law, but if your intention, if you try to slightly misinterpret or slightly interpret it to suit your own need, then it may not work. And same is the case with the tobacco, because tobacco law, when it was passed with a good intention, best of intention. But however, when it was implemented, different agency, the implementing agency interpreted it in a different way. They have framed the rule which is more stringent than the rule, than the law itself. And then what happened? The judiciary also had its own interpretation. And then therefore, the good intention, the noble intention got lost, and that's why we had to re-amend the law over and again. So therefore, there is no guarantee even to the amendment, even if you make the best amendment or even if you make the best law, it doesn't guarantee that it will solve the problem right away. But it is hoped that with a good law, at least, if there is people with good intention, if the people, it creates an environment for the implementing agency.
So why this problem? Why this confusion? Now we have the most educated, learned people elected as the member of parliament, and you people are believed to be the cream of the society because people elected you and you are there. And as a lawmaker, as you said, you will be coming up with noble intentions to frame a law. By the same token, we would also like to believe that even in implementing agencies, we have people who are qualified, educated to understand the law that has been framed. And down the line, people who follow should also understand. Why this confusion now? Different interpretation by the judiciary, stringent rules framed, not in consonance with the law. Why this confusion?
Well, it's very difficult to pinpoint why it's happening now, because if you look at the tobacco law, there are a lot of once the law has been passed, then somebody was penalized, like Sadam Sharif was carrying small amount of quantity of tobacco. Then there was whole issue. The news coverage was there, and then it distorted everything. And then perhaps it must have also did not allow the implementing agency or the interpreting judiciary body to see things. It must have hindered. I'm not saying that it has actually happened. So it's very difficult to say why it's happening. But I think we need to have more dialogue. I think the good thing about what has happened with tobacco law is now that even the lawmakers have learned the lesson. Even the implementing agency should learn the lesson. There need to be more dialogue. We need to communicate. We have introduced this parliamentary democracy for the first time, and therefore I think once the parliament passes the law, what is the intent of the law? This must be recorded, and this must be now made clear, articulated clearly to the implementing body. And that's one of the reasons why, if you look at the amendment of the National Council Act today, we have included one in our responsibility. Of course, it doesn't mean that we are not allowed to review the rules and regulations, but usually we frame the law and the rules and regulations is delegated to the implementing agency, believing that the rules and regulations will also be derived as per the intention of the law. So it seems that past problem has arisen because most probably the rules and the law there is inconsistency between these two. So therefore, this time we have amended the Council Act, and we have added further to make it more clear that even the council's role should be to look at and review the rules and regulations. So therefore, the law that is passed, whether the rules and laws are along the same line, whether there is any contradiction. So if there is any contradiction, then the council, the legislative body will again, the parliament will give advice to the law, to the rule, the one who has framed the rule. And so therefore, I hope it will things will get better from here on.
Yes, Tobacco Control Act is one such act that receives so much of attention by the parliament, by the public, and lots of views exchanged through social media, mainstream media, and people had lots of theories and interpretations on this particular act. Some said the law was too draconian in nature. Some said, we are in a democratic setup, and the parliamentarians or the lawmaking bodies have actually infringed into their rights, personal rights. Keeping aside all this, we made headlines by banning the sales of tobacco in the world. Internationally, we made headlines. This time around, if you are talking about lifting the ban, we are going to create headlines, but for wrong reasons. Don't you think so?
Well, you are right, Dawa, in saying that tobacco has received disproportionate amount of attention from the public. I always maintain, since the day we have had this kind of discussion in the public back in 2011 to 12 when he had amended this tobacco, I always said that if we had given half of the time, if we had paid our attention, half of the attention that we have paid to the tobacco on issues like corruption, youth unemployment, we would have made greater impact there. But however, we cannot dictate what is going to be on the public domain, what is going to be in the public mind. And yes, initially when the tobacco bill was passed, I thought it was the most broad law, because here what it talked about in the first law was that it does not prohibit individual smoking, individual consumption. It respects the individual consumption, and there is also provision which emphasizes on education, on rehabilitation programs, on creating awareness. But it only banned tobacco sale, and even for the personal consumption, the act provision of the act says that the permissible quantity should be defined in the rules and regulation by the Tobacco Control Board. So it was broad enough actually. It does not infringe on the individual's freedom. Those who would like to smoke, they can smoke, and It does not ask them to stop smoking, if
Yes.
but there are also other programs through, if they want to quit, and their government should also focus their attention in creating awareness.
Yes.
And the ban is only on the sale, not on the not on the individual consumption. But the problem happened because in the rule, when they framed the rule, they have defined the quantity too low. So, for example, somebody brought in for personal consumption maybe 10 packets of baba or something like that, and then if they exceeded this permissible quantity, then they were directly charged for smuggling.
Yes.
And the penalty rate was 4th degree. That made the whole confusion, that made the whole headline.
Yes.
For the wrong reason. But however, I think today we have not again lifted the sale as a whole, ban on the sale as a whole.
We are talking about outlets.
Today we are trying to say that maybe looking at the past experience, also there is a lot of problem with the implementation also, and therefore the new amendment, if it gets again, it needs to go to assembly, and assembly will debate it. But the proposal from the council is that the ban is still on. It's not the sale is not lifted. Ban on the sale.
Yes.
Respecting the smokers and also those people who come from the far away and who cannot afford to go out and get their permissible quantity. For them, let there be an outlet, but ban for the children is still there. And then the penalty part we have reduced from the 4th degree to lower. We have downgraded. For first offense there is going to be a heavy fine, and maybe if there is repeat, then there is going to be what you call petty misdemeanor. So
Yes.
I think we have made the severity of the crime in proportionate with the penalty also.
Yes, so people will keep talking about Tobacco Control Act, and media will keep covering this Tobacco Control Act. Once it's being tabled in the National Assembly, discussions will be there. So we will keep discussing on this. Final question on the amendment of National Council Act. 10 years experience. That also receives so much of attention in online forums, wherever people discuss. Some think that experience is needed, but there are again huge group of youth who feel that they'll be deprived of the opportunity to contest the elections. Mm-hmm. Now that honorable members today are well experienced, you are asking for 10 years of experience. So why have this 10 years of experience?
The 10 years of experience also came about, from the committee's proposal, and then I thought it was based on a very good reason.
Yes.
But however, the talk is that now when you prescribe 10 years qualification experience, 10 years again, I would like to say that it is not 10 years of experience in the parliament, 10 years of working experience anywhere.
Could be anywhere.
Could be anywhere.
Yes.
And if you take, for example...
But then would that help becoming a member? Because you are getting experience in a totally different field.
Wide range of experience is required. Yes. In the case of a lawmaking body. It need not be necessarily in the parliament. You can have experience in diverse background, and the reason why we have prescribed 10 years experience for the lawmaker is also because lawmaking is a very serious business. Yes. And if you look at today, take any profession, there is what you call requirement of experience. But in the case of lawmaking, why not? We really need, if we can get good experience, if we can have that minimum benchmark. And in the case of council, again, there are how many people are talking about job depriving from what you call the youth, but employment opportunity for the youth. But in the case of council, it's just 20 representatives, not much. And the chances of, if you weigh this against the youth unemployment, how much of youth unemployment is going to solve? But if we're able to bring in experienced people there, and the role of the National Council is to represent one Dzongkhag individual view. In the party, yes, we can afford to have young, because in a party we have a system, we work in a group, we work like a family. But in the case of National Council, it is an individual view, so therefore nothing can replace. You may be well educated, you may be highly intelligent, but I think what I've come to realize over this past 5 years of my experience in the lawmaking body is that nothing can replace the wisdom that we gain from the experience and from the age. So that's the reason why we have prescribed. But however, again, this is subject to discussion. It will be taken up in the National Assembly, and if the National Assembly, if they respect the what you call the reasoning of the council, then it might stay through. If not, still it's the process of the public discussion has just begun. It's not going to be final. So it has just opened up so if people feel that there needs to be relooked at based on certain good reason, then I think it's open, and we are open to listen to this justification.
Honorable Deputy Chairperson, thank you so much for your time. I do have so many follow-up questions, but then we'll have to cut it short. I'm afraid we'll have to cut it short simply because we need to have some technical arrangements made here, so that's why we had to cut short the interview. Thank you so much for watching Dawai Kudroen. More discussions, more deliberations, and more interviews as we go on. We'll keep bringing you, because these are issues that are not yet decided. Lots of discussions will follow up. So as and when things develop, we will bring you all these latest developments. Thank you so much for watching Dawai Kudroen. It's time to say good night, and thank you.